I believe. So I want to continue the discussion, but this time I want to make it more broad and talk about self defense in general. So no one has jumped on this live yet, but I want to make this a chat about self defense. So you can ask me anything about self defense related topics, martial arts related topics, fitness related topics, because they all kind of intertwine, at least for my own personal interest. And until I see anyone jump on, I'm just going to give us a little rant. And if no one jumps on, then I'm going to end the live. But um, I've given like little YouTube shorts, given like little self defense tips, and by no means do I consider myself a self defense quote expert unquote, but I know enough that I can protect myself or the people I care about, or give them tips that they can look after themselves. Okay, so I'm a lot of the stuff I'm going to regurgitate because as people come on the live, if anyone comes on the live, um, they'll probably not have already seen or heard what I just previously said earlier on in the stream. So, and then later when I post this, then people can look through it, and maybe it might be redundant, but that's fine. But yeah, this I want this to make this a chat about asking questions about self defense. And if I can't answer your question, which may be likely, I'm going to refer you to other YouTubers that can give you information on self defense. But again, I'm starting to see people jump on, so I do want this to be a discussion about self defense. Ask me any questions about it, or give me your own experiences, or anything like that. Like I said, for my own part, it starts with me with martial arts, and if I can, I always say this on a bunch of different platforms and to people I know in real life, that first part, the first aspect of self defense is staying physically fit. You really cannot defend yourself or others without being physically fit. That's one of the reasons I used to make fun of the old National Geographic docu series called Doomsday Preppers. And by the way, they made preppers look really bad, because there is a prepper culture in America and in other parts of the world, but and they're not as all as nutty as those folks on that show. But one of the biggest problems I had with most of those doomsday preppers were that they weren't physically fit. And a lot of these were elderly people with a lot of disposable income, and they would stockpile caches of weapons, um, and food that can last a long time, potable water, and they would build these little fortified houses or bug out locations and stuff like that. But they neglected the most important aspect of them being preppers, which was being physically fit. And it's like you're 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 delusional if you think during some crisis, whichever one they imagine in their head, because there were many of them on the Doomsday Prepper show. But all the stuff they concocted might happen to them. Most were, which were quite improbable, although some were probable because they did happen, like in 2020. It should have popped in their head to be physically fit. So bringing that back here, because I see new people in the chat, guys. This is a discussion about self defense. So ask me any questions about self defense that you like. I'm doing this while I let my food digest. Then I'll get back to work as usual. But until then, I just want to do a quick live stream. But yeah, like I said, the the first aspect of self defense is you should be physically fit, and that comes for a variety of reasons. For one, you're not going to be able to respond adequately to emergencies if you're out of shape. That's just that's just common sense, or it should be. Hi, Caleb. How are you? So, guys, again, who just jumped into the stream? This is a Ask Me Anything sort of stream about self defense. I know I completely ignored him, Gary. I know. It's every live stream has trolls. What's my opinion on the new Superman costume? I don't really have an opinion on it because I think everyone is like going crazy over just one little screenshot of the guy putting on his boots while there's some sort of laser going off in the back. So it was just to whet people's appetite and get people talking about it. So in that regards, it worked. But I don't really have an opinion. The only thing I will say about the new Superman costume, I like that he brought the red trunks back. I never liked the new 52 uniform for Superman or Batman that doesn't have the trunks. So I'll say that. I didn't like the no trunks thing. So the fact that this Superman has trunks again, that's a plus in my book. Other than that, I don't have anything for nor against the new Superman so far. I'll have to see more. But so far, as far as the red trunks, good to go. Caleb asks, "What do I do if I try to kick someone and they grab my leg?" Great question. So this is something that every striker should know how to do. Well, striker who kicks. So we deal with that in many different ways, and it depends on the style. So coming from like a Muay Thai and kickboxing background, we have different ways to do that. So in Taekwondo, what they might try to get you to do when someone kick your leg is to actually jump on the leg that's planted and kick them with that leg, kick them with that leg. That may not be always realistic in self defense because you're assuming a lot of things like you're in a stable position and so forth. What I would say is when that happens, like in Muay Thai, and someone catches your leg, um, either we can, depending on the person's grip, we can close the leg, try to close the leg, bringing that person in so that we can clench them. See, in Muay Thai, we're not afraid to get in close, whereas most strikers are scared to get in close. We'll try to close the leg to bring that person in to clench them, or once they catch our leg, we'll actually jump up and and do a under like a one arm hook across the against the neck, and then capture the person that way. Um, is many different responses to it, but I would say if someone catches your leg, then it's time to try to clench. So you should learn how to do clench work and some stand up grappling. Let me get back. Do I play video games? No. I when I was a kid, but it's like by the time we got to like Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. Sorry, I was about to start singing Biggie, but by the time we got the Super Nintendo and all that stuff, I wasn't playing video games anymore. I would go over other guys, my other friends' house, and sometimes play with them, but I wasn't into the systems anymore. I might go to the arcades, uh, but my era was the classic Nintendo. After that, I just kind of lost interest because I just thought it was like a waste of time. Keep buying new systems and new systems and new systems. I would play everyone else. So when PlayStation came out, I went with my friend to buy his back in like what was this 96 I think. Um, and when the PS2 came out, I was playing with my friends on that PS2. But I'm not really a gamer, so a lot of stuff, games that become movies like Fallout. I've never played or seen, or like Arkham, like the Arkham games, which I know are really popular. I've seen them, you know, on like YouTube and stuff, but I haven't played them. When beliefs about yourself, do you have to be confident in the face of trolls or people attacking you online? I get nervous whenever I'm on live. Well, first of all, Gary, whoever's hosting the live stream should never be mean to their viewers unless the viewer is a troll, like the guy, above. Um, I think it does take a certain amount of confidence to be a content creator because you're going to face a lot of criticism. So it doesn't bother me. Um, for one, I'm confident in myself that I don't care about what people say. And on top of that, you got to imagine who are the type of people who would come on a live stream or in a comment section of some social media post and troll people. These aren't people that are happy in their own lives. These are either some of these folks are just actual just kids and they're just stupid and don't know any better. But the ones who are adults are just losers. And when you realize that most of the people who come online to troll people are losers, it makes you not really take them seriously. And also, I can fight, so I'm not really worried about some little dweeb with a neck beard in his mother's basement typing mean stuff on his screen. Because at the end of the day, I can fight, and I know if he saw me face to face, I could kick his ass. So that's how I deal with it. Um, Alexander Great says, "How come my ex girlfriend never closed her legs?" I don't know what regard you mean that, so I'm going to leave that alone unless you want to specify that in a nice way. um, he said, "I've been training jiu." Okay, so you mean it in a martial arts context? Thank goodness. I thought you meant that in another way. So I've been training jiu-jitsu to try to prevent, um, I guess, from being attacked, right? So I'm guessing you're referring to Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Brazilian jiu-jitsu is a great art for self-defense and for competition. My only gripe with Brazilian jiu-jitsu as self-defense is that it doesn't prepare you for the reality that most people have weapons on them. Now, I have a within my Jeet Kune Do community, we have a Shifu Burton Richardson. He's like one of the first generations of Jeet Kune Do instructors under Dan Inosanto, who was under Bruce Lee himself. Um, he uh, he developed all his martial arts into like more street self defense applicable ways that he calls for the streets. So he has a Brazilian Jiu Jitsu tutorial for the streets, which trains people in BJJ for the reality that most people on the street are going to carry weapons. And because that's my biggest gripe against BJJ is self defense. It doesn't prepare you for the reality that most people are going to carry a knife or gun on them, or they might attack you in groups. And one of my friends, the if you ever see my videos, I often will record videos in a car with my friend while he's driving. And in his system, Salat, he and his teacher always practice rolling with a knife, and he think that's more realistic than some of the more um, technical things that they do in BJJ, which to be sure is great stuff, but when you live in somewhere like Baltimore, Philadelphia, Detroit, Chicago, Gary, Indiana, um, you can name off Trenton, New Jersey, Cleveland, Ohio, so many other places. Most of these people are going to attack you with a weapon. Most 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 attackers are predators, and they're cowardly. As Batman might put it, criminals are a cowardly and superstitious lot. They're not going to come at someone who looks like they can defend themselves unless they feel they have an edge. The edge is either going to be multiple people or a weapon. and you train in jiu-jitsu, you're probably going to look more physically fit than the average person, I'm guessing. Um, so Mabora says I'm lying. I don't know what I'm lying about, so maybe you can specify. Caleb, no, no problem. You're welcome. Karis is spitting Biggie rhymes when I was dead broke, man, and I couldn't picture this. Yeah, all right, I feel you. um, Hare Krishnan says, "Do you consider WWE superstars athletes or entertainers?" They're both. They're both. They are definite athletes. If you see the training that pro wrestlers go through, there's no way you cannot say that they're not athletes. They are absolutely athletic. I think what you mean, maybe the better question you're asking is, are these folks, is what the wrestling that they do legit? Pro wrestlers are practicing um, actual wrestling, but it's done in an entertainment format so that they don't hurt each other. Well, they do hurt each other quite a bit, but to become a pro wrestler, it takes quite a bit of pain tolerance. I'll say that. But yeah, they're both athletes and entertainers, definitely. Because people say, well, it's a fake sport. It's sport entertainment. They are bona fide athletes. I mean, look at them. You don't look that way unless you are physically fit. And to see the regimen, I don't know if you ever saw, they used to have a reality show about people trying to become WWE stars. That is a grueling regiment. My stepbrother wanted to become a pro wrestler like 20 some odd years ago, and it is a difficult journey to travel, for sure. Uh, Hi Hakeem, what's up from Malaysia? What part of Malaysia? I've been to Kuala Lumpur. Harry Christian asks, can you lose weight if you don't do a calorie deficit but just eat healthy, clean, exercise, and avoid sugar, junk food? I really struggle with caloric deficit because I still feel hungry after eating. So here's a simple thing. You might be able to lose weight without doing a calorie deficit, but I wouldn't count on it. You need to do a calorie deficit. My question to you is, how many meals are you eating per day? See, most people when they try to lose weight, they do it wrongly. They try to cut down on their meals. Do not cut down on your meals. Multiply your meals. For someone who wants to lose weight, you should be actually eating 4 to 5 times a day. Yes, but these are smaller portions. This is so that you don't your body is in starvation mode. So the problem is when people only eat once or twice a day, their body stores that as fat because the body is going into starvation mode thinking it won't get its nutrients. So a lot of that food is stored as glycogen within the body, and it actually makes the situation worse. But it's two things you have to do to lose weight. That is exercise daily and calorie deficit. You need a caloric deficit to do so. But you should not be feeling hungry throughout the day. I think if that's happening to you, that's because you're not eating enough meals. You need to break the current food that you're eating needs to be broken down into 4 or 5 meals per day. Yes, that's how you do it. That's how you enter calorie deficit, but you don't feel hungry throughout the day. And you should definitely have some fiber in that diet because fiber keeps that feeling of hunger away. Did you ever work in the army? Yeah, I'm a military veteran. So um like I was saying, folks. Hold up, I got another question from Hare Krishna. Usually have just brunch, breakfast and lunch combined, snack, tea time and dinner. My food is mainly Indian food, so it's mainly curries, rice, and chapatis. Did I say that right? Um, Yeah. So again, what I would advise you to do, instead of just eating 3 times a day, I want you to eat 4 to 5 times a day. When you have it spaced out throughout the day, you don't feel hungry. You see the reasoning behind that. See, the way the way nutritional science works is kind of counterintuitive to what we expect when it comes to like good health and fitness. But yeah, break what you currently do with the brunch lunch. I mean, excuse me, with the brunch, snack, and dinner, into actually like 5 meals a day. So you're gonna have like a early a early breakfast, a later brunch, right? Um, a lunch or whatever you might want to call that, supper, and then or dinner, and then like a snack in the evening. Do it that way. Exercise, and you should be on your way to losing weight. And also, when it comes to exercise, cardio is king. So that's what I'll say. India Karis says, is it Kairos or Karis? Indian food is really healthy, I hear, especially from India. Um, I haven't eaten that much Indian food, but it's delicious. I know that much. um, and it probably would be better, like as far as than the typical American diet. That's for sure. The typical American diet will keep you sick. But yeah, so that's the first aspect of self defense, guys, is physical fitness, staying fit. And like I said, cardio is king. Like you should be out there getting those miles in on those running shoes, and then also doing some sort of strength training or calisthenics. You can get one of those Planet Fitness memberships for like what, $5 a month or something like that. Hare Krishna says, I understand, but I usually tend to avoid foods before going to the gym because I feel really uncomfortable when I'm on the treadmill because the food and liquids is just bouncing in my. Oh no, trust me, I completely understand. I did a video telling people, like, if you never understood the pain of running right before you ate a meal, feel blessed because it is uncomfortable. Like I said, I know what a big man feels like after I've eaten a big meal and I try to go for a jog, which is why I'm doing the stream now, because I don't want to exercise after I've just eaten. So yeah. So I mean, so you could do different things. So instead of eating a meal before the gym, why don't you eat if you can, like a protein bar, or one of those little protein shakes. And they sell those at the gym, but I would say get them from like the grocery stores. That way you can buy them cheaper and in bulk. So like the muscle milk, I use that sometimes. The protein bars, like the Cliff bars the hikers use. I keep some of those in my bug out bag. One day I'm gonna probably do a video on my bug out bag and show everyone the contents of my bug out bag. But I keep Cliff bars in there, so keep. I would say don't eat before you work out, but if you do, keep it very light, like either like a muscle milk or a protein bar. Some people, some people use pre-workout. I don't think pre-workout is that great, but if it works for some people. All right, so now that we've covered the aspect that physical fitness should be your first point of order when it comes to self defense, the second thing comes to getting combat training. Um, I think you should. I think getting firearm training is pretty good. Now this is going to differ for some people because I know there's a lot of people from other countries that jump in and out of the live stream. So some of the stuff can't be applicable to people in places where firearms are severely restricted. But here in the U.S., you should try to get some sort of firearm training. Even if you don't own a firearm yourself, you can still get firearm training. Like you can go to your local gun range, and they have, um, they have weapons there that you can rent just to shoot off some, to practice shooting off rounds. And there's usually licensed firearm instructors there that can teach you how to use those weapons. But also, you should consider buying one for yourself for self defense. Like, for the, it's always a matter of debate amongst um, firearm enthusiasts. What's the best for self defense? Like, obviously, when it comes to handguns, I think a semi-automatic 9 millimeter pistol, it would be pretty effective. What type is kind of subjective, because I asked this myself on a previous YouTube short. I asked like people within my audience who are like really into firearms what they think is the best for like a first time buyer, because I wanted to buy one for my bug out bag, and I got so many different good answers. And I said, so I think I'm just gonna go with a Glock 19 for the for right now, but um, that might change. But a lot of guys said, well, just try a bunch of different ones at the range and then figure out what you like. So I would say also the same thing, guys. Get some firearm training. Even if you don't buy a weapon yourself, you can try out different weapons there at the range. They're loaners. They loan out these guns to people at the range to practice with them. So you can just have fun firing them, and you'll get practical hands-on training on how to use them. And a lot of these places also have tactical firearm training there as well. The tactical firearm training means you get to learn how to use these guns in confined spaces, which means you have to use hand-to-hand combat. Okay, but let me get back to the comments. So Hare Krishna says, thanks for the tips. I try to eat natural as much as possible, so I try to avoid protein powder or bars. Usually I try to make my own healthy shakes or drinks with natural sugars like honey. No, that's good. I was just saying, like, for the gym, I would avoid eating before a workout, but if you did, just stick to like the protein shakes or drinks. But if you want to do it au natural, that's cool too. Saves money if you're doing it at home, right? Stupid question, but have I ever unalived anyone? I'm guessing you mean in the service, right? No, I wasn't in a combat um I wasn't in a combat position, so I didn't have to to do anything like that. I mean, if I had to, I would have, but luckily, no, I didn't have to. um, so again, so back to that. So, like I said, the second aspect of self defense is getting the training, and like I said, firearm training is king, and possibly buying a weapon because you'll need it for home defense, or if you live in a bad area like Chicago, which I used to live in, and Baltimore, which I currently live in, you might want to consider getting concealed carry. Some states have constitutional carry, but that's not allowed here in Maryland. But they do allow concealed carry. Um, some now, obviously, some folks aren't going to be comfortable either handling guns nor much less walking around with one, and that's completely fine. I completely understand that, because that can be unsettling to some people. What I would say is that you should have some sort of self defense weapons on you, or what we call EDC, or everyday carry weapons. In a moment after I respond to these questions, I'm gonna show some of my EDC weapons, if you guys don't mind. I'm from Maryland. That's where I'm from. So when I go running, especially when it's dark, I always carry something on me. Like, for one, I always have a pepper spray on my keychain when I go running, but I may carry extra stuff as well, because sometimes I do midnight runs, especially when it gets hot. I prefer midnight runs because it's cooler. um, Harry Christian says, "Are there any protests going on where you live? Is it peaceful or is there police intervention?" Not where I am. Most of those protests are happening on college campuses. Um, I think there has been some protest at my alma mater, which is in College Park, Maryland. It's like right outside of Washington, D.C. But I haven't heard of anything nasty. Like I was just reading an email from my school's newspaper saying that there was some protests going on because there was an Israel Fest on campus, and so there were people protesting outside of the Israel Fest. But it hasn't gotten nasty like say at Columbia University, and I think the most intense protests have been going on at like the Ivy League campuses right now. Tracy says you better have a mace. uh, I actually do want to get bear spray, but not for people. I want it for dogs. Um, in my community, there's we have a ongoing problem with neighbors who don't secure their dogs, and so either they'll run after people when they see them coming by, or these people will be walking their dogs off a leash, which is insane. And I'm not talking about little ankle biter dogs, even though I've been attacked by those too. I'm talking about like people have had Rottweilers, Huskies, and pit bulls running loose in the neighborhood. And I'm sorry, an attack dog, a regular bear spray is, I mean, sorry, I'm not bear spray. I'm sorry. A regular pepper spray is not going to stop a an attack dog. German shepherds, Rottweilers, Doberman pinchers, pit bulls. Those aren't going to be stopped by pepper spray. You need a bear spray. But I'm going to have to go to like one of those outdoor stores to get that or order it online. I think it's legal here in Maryland. I'm not sure, but I think bear spray is legal here. I want to get that because I would feel more comfortable with that running in my neighborhood. Like most of my neighbors are dope. They're really cool, but we have a few jokers who don't secure their dogs, and their dogs terrorize everyone else. Like I literally just had a run in with a neighbor 2 weeks ago, and I'm still deliberating whether I'm gonna put a peace order on them because of the encounter. As the cop recommended me to do when I reported it. So um, yeah, but bear spray will be very effective, guys. From if you guys can see what Tracy wrote, bear spray can be very effective for both humans and animals. It's strong. TRW says I seem like a scary ass dude. I don't know how. I'm pretty chill. Unless someone gets under my skin, you know, I don't think I am. But if I come off that way, I'm sorry. um, Jen says, can I ask you about hospital and cancer treatment that you just cut it off that you thank you. Oh, thank you. You can ask me, but I don't really know anything about cancer treatment. I'm not an oncologist, so I really wouldn't know what to tell you. Um, Other than maybe to direct you to some information where you could get more actual like accurate scientific information about it. But I don't really know anything about cancer treatment myself. Aaron Christian says, "What's your bet on who's going to be your next president?" I'm not from the U.S., so it's interesting to hear. Okay, so I'm. This is probably going to get controversial, but if we're looking at the current political landscape, unless Trump is convicted of something and prevented from continuing his election, it's almost it's it's very likely that he's going to be the president. The reason being is for several reasons. One is that Biden has become very unlikable right now, and this is among his base. Like usually, the during elections, it's always polarized that half the country hates you because you're not on their side. But it's not. But it's worse for Biden because almost half of his base doesn't like him. The reason being is that with the current geopolitical situation going on in Ukraine and Israel, he's turned off a lot of his would-be supporters, people. So he's alienated the people, the youth that usually vote blue or Democrat. That is. Um, Also, a lot of black people are starting to lead. Well, particularly black men. A lot of black men are either not going to vote or they're going to vote for Trump or maybe even third party. So he's lost a considerable amount of his base that he needs to win, whereas Trump has a strong support amongst people whom he's had since 2016 and has grown. Because like I said, you have people who wasn't going to vote for him before, they will vote for him now because of not just the geopolitical situation that Biden has alienated his base, but also with um, this wave of illegal immigration and throwing resources at illegal migrants that should go to people here in America. So that's another reason people are upset with him. Um, then the third reason, and probably the biggest, is that the economy is doing poorly, at least relative to where people want it to be. Because even if the economy is doing relatively well, if people see it as bad, then it's bad. Perception is reality when it comes in politics. So you can throw numbers at people all day long and tell them, well, actually, the economy is doing such and such and such and such. But if people still feel in their pockets that 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 things aren't well, they feel like every time they go to the gas station, they're paying more. They think every time they go to the supermarket, they're paying more. They think a regular they go to McDonald's and feel like, why am I paying $25 for a meal at McDonald's when this used to cost me $5 like 20 years ago? You get what I'm saying? The math is not working in Biden's favor unless there has to be there will have to be something pretty earth shattering to happen to kick things back in Biden's favor. The only thing that could happen is that a third party candidate, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the son of Robert F. Kennedy, who was, the Secretary of State, brother to John F. Kennedy, and a presidential frontrunner right before he was assassinated in the 60s. If that guy can take away Republican votes, then that would give Biden a chance. But more than likely, it's going to take away He's going to take away Democratic votes. So he's the dark horse in this election. So that could be the only thing I could see that could probably help Biden, but it's not likely going to do so. NS Vlog 777 says, "What's up? What's up, bro?" Jen says, "In my city, okay, is the hospital good?" Yeah. So we have one of the best cancer treatment hospitals in the world here in Baltimore, which is Johns Hopkins Hospital. It has also a university attached to it that is like pretty like one of the best medical schools in the world. And like I said, they specialize in cancer treatment at Johns Hopkins. So I don't know what part of where you're at in the world, but you can definitely look up Johns Hopkins University and look at some of their top research they're doing when it comes to cancer and stuff like that. And thank you, Jen. Thank you for chiming in. And if you're right now undergoing any sort of cancer treatment or someone uh, I wish you well and that you can get that taken care of because I have known folks who have succumbed to cancer. So definitely look at all variables when it comes to trying to treat cancer and get rid of it. Harry Christian says, "Who are your top five YouTubers?" Uh, I think it's changed over the years because there's been a lot of YouTubers this year that have stopped creating content. So one was like Matt Pat. So if you guys don't know Matt Pat, you may have heard of Game Theory. I think that was his first channel, was Game Theory. But I used to watch his other one, Film Theory. That was my favorite one. Then he also did Food Theory. Uh, what's the other ones? Then he even did a Style Theory, and I think I'm still missing another one. But he was putting up such huge numbers of subscribers in those channels. Like each one of those channels had like millions and millions and millions of subscribers. And like Film Theory was probably like my favorite one. He was the guy that's saying, "Just remember, guys, it's all the theory, just the theory." And he even appeared in a movie last year on Freddy. What's the horror movie based off of like the Chuck E. Cheese people? So he was in that movie last year. Who are some other folks? What's up, Cameron? Um, Dang. So I used to like Wisecrack, at least under the former host, the who used to lead Wisecrack, because it's sort of like a they would talk about philosophical issues, which I'm a philosophy nerd. So they used to talk about things like dealing with philosophy, literature, pop culture, stuff like that. And they still do, but the current guy who runs it, he's cool. He's actually like a PhD level philosophy professor, but he has a very morbid outlook than the previous guy who used to host the show, who used to host the channel. Um, and it's like I don't know if he can I don't know if he can tell himself, but he just seems depressed on the show, and everything just seems bleak and morbid the way he puts out the content. So it makes me not want to watch it sometimes, like I used to watch the earlier version of Wisecrack. So that was my second favorite channel. Um, I like Hard to Hurt with Icy Mike. He's a bona fide self defense expert. I just dabble in it. He's the real deal. He's a former cop, and was former SWAT and a former SWAT trainer. Um, he has his own martial arts school. He teaches. He's a kickboxing coach. He's the real deal. I'm just pretending. He's the real deal. So I watch a lot of his stuff. Um, Most definitely. Who are some others? Oh, Dan. Dan from Toy Galaxy. Well, it's now recalled Secret Galaxy, but I love his stuff. He talks about um, toys and cartoons from earlier eras, from like the 80s, mostly the 80s and some the 90s. One of my favorite channels. Every time there's like an update, I watch his stuff. He's big into toy collecting and toy history. So I def he's definitely one of my biggest ones. And who else? Um, Fifth person. Um, it's weird because I watch so many people. Um, I would so before he passed away, Kevin Samuels would have been on that list too. I still watch his content now because whoever now has taken over the channel for him, they have edited his old content and put it out in a new format. So I still watch it, but that used to be my fifth favorite. Um, Now it might be Richie Mack from Zoom to Thailand. He gives out a lot of information for Passport Bros and stuff like that. Um, so I really enjoy his content. He's a positive guy, so I like seeing what he puts out. Um, have I read Albert Camus? I have. I don't think you can study philosophy and not read Camus. um, I was gonna show you one of the books that I actually have of him, but it's tucked away in a bunch of my other philosophy books, so I don't want to try to pull that stuff out. I did promise though, like 10 minutes ago, that I would show you guys some of my everyday carry weapons with EDC that I bring with me. And remember, this is coming from someone living in the United States, so a lot of this stuff may be illegal where you live, depending on your state or country. So, brass knuckles. So technically, these are illegal in Maryland, but you see this little bud right here. So you can attach that as a belt buckle. As a belt buckle, it's it's legal, but once you detach it from the belt, it's not considered legal anymore. But very effective. Although most people use it wrongly. When you use it, this is how you should use it, right? You're not taking huge swings at people. You're just jabbing them. This is going to cut a person's face when you're hitting them with it. So there's no need to be trying to hit them all hard. Besides, it's going to damage your own hand if you try to hit them hard with it. You just jab, jab, jab. I've shown this before in one of my YouTube shorts. It's a flashlight taser. I usually take this when I go running, or if I go for a walk to the store at night, because one, the flashlight, and also the taser. It also has a siren on it. Knife belt. So you can take this part out. Sorry, sir. See. A balisong, better known as a Filipino butterfly knife. So this is one of the little cheaper ones, but I don't want to take my one I actually got in the Philippines around with me, because that's more of like a collectible to me. But this is like a cheaper one I can just keep in my pocket. This one will be harder to use by the average person, but I have what's called a Manriki Gusari. Sometimes they call it a ninja fighting chain or samurai fighting chain. But it has a weighted end on both ends. So you can use it both in close combat. You can use it closely or from a distance. So you can swing it at people from a distance to keep them away or to hit them somewhere. Or you can use it close up and wrap it around your hand to hit them with it, or to choke them. But that's not for the average person to use. You need to actually know what you're doing, or you're going to probably end up hurting yourself with the chain. But it's called a Manriki Gusari. Then there's another name, a Kasari. I think it's also called a Gusari Fundo chain. And like I said, I have my pepper spray. So those are like some of my basic everyday carry weapons. I don't have a concealed carry, but I know that I can get one. As a veteran, I don't even have to take the training. I can just apply for it and get both my HQL, that's my handgun qualification license, and my concealed carry permit. I am thinking of doing it, but the only reason I haven't is because I don't plan on being in the U.S. long enough that I would need it. However, because things are getting really bad in Baltimore, I may consider it. So definitely keep some sort of everyday carry weapon on you. Like I said, the taser. Oh, there's one EDC weapon I forgot that everyone can carry regardless. one and people in law enforcement will tell you this too. One of the best self-defense weapons you can have on you, flashlight, Part- particularly a tactical flashlight. Um, the reason being, one is that a tactical flashlight is multifunctional, meaning not just for self-defense, but generally, it's a good idea to have a flashlight on you anyway, especially at night, so that you can see down blind alleys, corners, such and so forth. Two is that these tactical flashlights have a high luminosity. I don't remember what the lumens specification on this is, but you can flash this in someone's face and it's going to blind them. I'm not going to do this because I don't want it to, but you can flash it and blind someone in their eyes. And this one doesn't, but many of them will have a beveled edge, and you can use that for hitting them with, sort of like a Kubotan. So you can hit them with it, blind them with it, or you can just use it to find things at night. So it's a multifunctional object that you can take anywhere. You can take it to with you in the airport. You can take it with you in government buildings because they're not illegal. So this is probably, so out of everything I've shown you, this is probably the best self-defense weapon because you can take it anywhere. It's multifunctional, and um, you don't need any sort of training to utilize it. All right, guys. So let me get back to the comments. um, duh, 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 duh. So Christian says, "You're really prepared. Have you had a personal experience of being attacked or threatened, or is the crime there just horrible?" Both. Crime in Baltimore is very bad. Um, Look it up. Like, Baltimore is so bad, which I didn't know myself. It's one of the most violent uh, cities in the United States per capita, or that means per person, because not a large city. Well, it's one of the largest cities in the United States, but globally it's not. It's not that big of a city. But here it is. It's about 600,000 people, and the city is shrinking because more people are fleeing away. But it's horrible. And yes, I have been attacked a few times. Again, I just 2 weeks ago I got attacked by someone's dog, and then the owner, and I got into it because I told him he needs to keep his dog on a fucking leash, and he had a problem with me cussing him out and his woman because the woman lets her dog come into our backyard and take a shit, and she doesn't clean it up, and she's done it for years. And she's had run-ins with my sister several years ago. My sister ended up getting a peace order on her, so the guy and I had it out, and I told him. So he was trying to say, I don't know why he thought I was scared of him, but he was like, "What did you say to me?" And I told him exactly what I said. It's, I don't want to repeat that here, but he started fumbling in his little man purse for like a gun or something or other. I don't know if it was a gun or a knife, but because he was an old man, I didn't knock him right on his ass. Because if he was my age, I wouldn't have. As soon as I saw him fumbling in his little bag, I would have went for a double leg takedown and just beat the shit out of him. But instead, I just put up a high guard, which is, if you know, kickboxing and Muay Thai is like a defensive stance you get into when you fight. So I put up a high guard and waited to see what this guy was going to do, and then he kind of backed off when he saw I would beat the shit out of him. But yeah, but in other times I actually have had fights with folks that tried me. Like, I'm pretty chill until you actually put your hands on me. So, and here in Baltimore, it's going to happen. Plus, when I dress like a square, so people will tend to underestimate me because they think I'm just this little geeky little nerd, and I am a geeky little nerd, but I'm a geeky little nerd who knows how to fight. So I I dress very straight edge on purpose because I want people to underestimate me. How many countries have I been to? Uh, 7 so far, I think. I After 2020, it kind of fell off a bit, but I want to get back into going to a bunch of different countries. Most of the ones on my bucket list I have knocked off, except um, Hong Kong and France are still on my bucket list, and I so those those are the ones I'll probably be heading up very soon since I just renewed my passport. Guys, definitely get your passport. Uh, get a bigger knife. It looks more intimidating than a butterfly. So I understand what you're saying, but for self-defense purposes, actually, a smaller knife is better. Trust me, a blade in someone. I don't want to get too grotesque here, but a small knife will do what a big knife will as well. Trust me, I do have big knives, but I have a Bowie knife, but that's in my bug out bag because I'm a Bowie knife is not it's just not a knife you can walk around with in your day to day life, in your day to day capacity. It just wouldn't make sense. And for self defense purposes, it's, it's hard. For one, it's just illegal. I can't walk around with a Bowie knife in Maryland. Okay, much less like a kukri or a machete or any large blade. Pocket knives are legal in Maryland, but you have to have them but you have to openly display them. So you have to let people see that you have one on you. So just about everyone in Baltimore City walks around with a pocket knife where you can see the clip on their pants. But the problem is most people aren't trained in knife training. I am because I know Filipino martial arts, so I do know how to use, you know, a blade. But most people walk around with a knife not knowing how to use it. The problem is you don't need to have knife training to attack someone, but you need to know knife. You need to know how to knife fight to protect yourself with one. But you don't. It's not practical to walk around with a large knife. And the balisong, I don't even walk around with that all the time. Most of the time, I just walk around with that knife belt that I just showed you guys. It's small, and I can get it around a lot of things. Tony the Tiger says my boy just got shot 3 times, and he he's good. You know what it is. I'm sorry. I didn't catch the last part, but I'm sorry if your friend got shot. Hopefully he survived. I couldn't imagine. Wow. Okay. Wow. So I'm sorry, Tony. Your friend that happened to him. Sound like he didn't make it from your follow up. Lucky Clip says, "Relax. Don't." It's not. We're not talking about fear. We're talking about preparation. Lucky Clip 7. I think the whole premise of this live stream is self defense, not being scared. Those are different things. All right. Preparation is not fear. It's a well. Actually, I'll take that back. There's a type of fear in preparation. It's the fear of not being prepared for an emergency situation to happen. All right. Good. Good. I'd rather overthink things than underthink them, Lucky. Why do you think Batman is one of the most feared superheroes in the DC universe? Because he thinks several steps ahead of everyone. He's known as the master strategist and tactician of everyone in the Justice League. He 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 figured out how to take down everyone in the Justice League if they ever go rogue. Overthinking is good because things happen. Gotta get busy. All right. Oh, hello from Japan. CHRT. How are you? I've been to Japan. Love it there. What part of Japan are you from? Dylan Bruce says just jokes. It's the internet. Hola, cómo estás? From Jayla. Hey Jayla, what's up? Do a video with Bear Mace. You know what? So once I get monetized, I'm gonna start making some different content. If people really want to see me do a video with mace spray, I might do it. I have to find like an open area to do it where I have an open area in the back of my house, but kids normally play out there, so I gotta be careful. And there's also animals out there. I don't want to hurt any deer that sometimes come into our backyard. Um, but I might do that. If you mean getting sprayed by it, hell no. I'll get sprayed by mace, like regular pepper spray or mace, not bear spray. Like Icy Mike from Hard to Hurt has done videos where he's shown the effectiveness of those different sprays by getting sprayed by himself. I don't believe he's ever done bear spray, and I don't think anyone would. But I can show spraying it, but I'm not going to spray a person nor an animal with it because it's very dangerous. But I'll be open to showing usage of some of my EDC weapons, definitely. Yeah, right, Tony. He's a man. He has a man. And the only reason I mean I knew he was older than me, but I didn't know how old he was until when I filed the report with the police on this guy. Because my thing is, I rather just let the police handle stuff than have a ninja moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, remember, I don't know if you ever watched Boondocks, but Aaron Magruder said the best way to handle a ninja moment is to call the police, and that's what I believe in doing because I'm not going. I'm not going to sit there and try to show how tough I am to everyone by beating them up. That's just not. It's just not practical, right? So once they got his information from the man, I learned he's like 70, 74. So he's older than my father. And he's sitting there trying to fight me over being dead ass wrong, having a pit bull. Like, for one, when the pit bull came after me as I'm running down my neighborhood about to go to my house, the he and the woman are calling the dog. The dog did not listen to them. So the dog would have just attacked me. What happened was, and this is what you can do with dogs, when the dog came charging after me, I turned around and said, "Get away from me, motherfucker!" And the dog jumped and turned around, and then I tried to run off, and so then the dog took that as me backing away, backing down. So he came after me again, and I had to turn around and jump at the dog, and I took my pepper spray, and I was like, all right, I'm about to see how far I can kick this dog in the fucking air. And so they was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." I was like, "I don't want to hear that stuff." I was like, because it wasn't the first time this happened. This dog has ran after me several times, and the worst is that it would happen like 5 o'clock in the morning when I go for my morning run. Like, no one wants to be attacked by some pit bull 5 o'clock in the goddamn morning. But luckily, the dog is a coward, so like if you buck at it, he'll turn heel. But imagine it's not me, it's just a kid or an older person or just a woman walking by. They How are they gonna handle this pit bull? I can, but they can't. And the police woman, she even said that when I was filing a report with her, because I was like, these people don't secure their dog, and I was like, imagine it wasn't me. It could be one of these kids to live in this neighborhood. And the police woman was like, yeah, you're right. She's like, when I went to go talk to the man, she said I saw about 8 kids just walking up the block. And I was like, see, exactly. I said that dog could have been attacking one of them, not me. And yeah, he had some little man purse. It's become way too common nowadays. These little guys with the man purse. It's usually the younger guys, but this is the first time I saw an older guy with one. And like I said, he either had a knife or he had like a compact gun, like maybe a 22 or something in it, and he was fiddling around with it. And he saw me put up my high guard, like, and then he backed away. And then his woman was like, "You ain't had to talk to that man like that." I was like, "Yeah, I did." I said, I said he should grow the fuck up. So, and then they tried to come to my house and apologize. So I was like, no, y'all can talk to the cop because they're on their way. So Joey says, "Did you secondly roundhouse them with an Astro round?" Right, right. So I avoid attacking if possible, but I have kicked a dog before. Again, not my fault. It was an unsecured dog. I'm all the way up the block, not by my house, and someone just lets their dog run from their house. Like if you're gonna have your dog unsecured, it should be behind a fence. But don't have an unsecured dog and you don't have a fence up or a gate or something like that. Besides that, you're not protecting your own dog. Like what if he decides to run into the street and get hit by a car? That's your fault. But if it's a person, now they've attacked a person. Animal control can come take your dog for that. Tony Tice says same. Dylan Bruce is laughing. TRW says John Wick, are you fired? Dude, I'm I swear to you, I'm low key. Like I said, if you guys want like a real self defense expert, go to Hard to Hurt. Icy Mike. He's legit. I'm just pretended this. Like I said, this guy is a kickboxing coach. He's fought on what's that channel? Backyard Beefs or Street. The channel where the people just fight in like the little backyard. He's done that and beat people. Like I said, he's a former cop who also was a SWAT and a SWAT trainer. Last year he did a thing on another guy's channel where they said who's the like toughest like martial artist, and they went to I think Australia and did this competition where it was him and a bunch of other martial arts YouTubers showing who was the toughest out of all of them. I think Jeff Chan won from MMA. Jeff Chan, he is dope. He's also dope. That's he's another channel that I watch. I watch a bunch of martial arts YouTubers: Jesse Ancamp, the Karate Nerd, Icy Mike from Hard to Hurt, um, um, a bunch of people I can't remember. Jeff Chan from MMA. Jeff Chan was it MMA Unshredded, I think it's called. I watch a bunch of those guys. These guys are the legit deal. I'm I'm just an amateur. I mean, the only reason I started coaching is that I realized with my 30 years of experience that I actually was an expert, and I didn't really believe I was an expert. But then I looked at all the years that I trained and the fact that people would ask me questions, and I'm like, oh, I guess I am sort of a expert, lowercase e. But those guys, particularly Icy Mike, is the real deal. So if you want real information, go to his channel at Hard to Hurt. And I'm not being told to say that. I'm just saying because I enjoy his content and I learn a lot from his content. The Oh yeah, Dylan Bruce is in a flashlight. Yeah, like I said, a tactical flashlight is like the best self-defense weapon because it's multifunctional. You can use it to blind someone. You can use it to hit someone against the edge of the flashlight, and you can get the kinds that has the beveled edge, so there's jagged, so when you hit someone, it will hurt them even more. Some of them are constructed to be very, very heavy or solid steel, so that you can use it as a blunt object. And any woman, I think every woman should carry some sort of self-defense weapon. Definitely a flashlight, if nothing else, and tactical pens. Tactical pens are very good as well because you can pretty much bring them anywhere. Just like a self-defense flashlight, you can pretty much bring anywhere. Do a judo kick. There aren't any kicks in judo. Judo is throws, takedowns, submission fighting, some joint locks. Not as much as like with traditional jiu-jitsu. There's no judo kick. Just like remember when they used to say judo chop? There's no judo chop. There's no there's no strikes in judo. They'll teach you to neutralize strikes, but we don't practice. We there's no strikes in judo itself, which stands for the art of the gentle way. It's um, mostly just grappling. It's an offshoot of traditional jiu-jitsu formed by Jigoro Kano back in the early 1900s. He took aspects from different styles of jiu-jitsu and took like the strikes out of it, some of the more deadly joint locks and takedowns, and made it something that was applicable for self-defense, and that became Kodokan Judo. But it has no striking in it. Joni says, if you become a teenager, what are you going to do? What career are you going to choose? What will you do with your life? I don't get that. So aside from the fact that you can't age backwards, like Benjamin Buttons, I'm not sure what he means. What carrier? I'm. I, if you can rephrase the question, I'll answer. But I don't get it. Harry Christian says that's not a knife. Now that's a knife. Oh, you remember? Oh, you're old school. If you remember those old that old movie, that's not a knife. It's a knife. That's so old school. Dog tags. You didn't see my dog tags earlier? So it is a pendant of Saint Michael. He's the patron saint of the U.S. Armed Forces. Tyler says, "Can I ask you a question?" Yep, that's the purpose of this. Just make it kind of relevant to this. This is about self-defense, fitness, martial arts, that sort of stuff. Is what rude? I didn't get it. Gay son or thought daughter? Neither. I'm a. I would just choose not to have one, honestly. No, I'm not. Well, I don't have. If the son turned out gay, actually, I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem. I would have a problem with them being some of these other alphabets, but gay, well, whatever. That's his journey. I don't have a problem with that so much as I would have a problem with some of these other folks who are gay but have mental health problems. We know who we're. You probably can guess whom I'm going after with that, but I don't want to get too specific and offend anyone or trigger the algorithm once I post this later. But definitely not a thought daughter. I refuse. I refuse, and I know my wife ain't gonna let that happen either. Everyone's saying gay son. I don't blame you guys. Like I said, for real. I'm just looking at the comments, guys, see if it's something that you want me to answer. All right, Tyler's tripping. Joni says I'm from Sri Lanka. What's up, Joni? Joker's more afraid of Flash than Batman. I don't think so. The Flash, like most of the Justice Leaguers, he's not. He plays by a set of rules that, like Batman and Superman, and sometimes Wonder Woman. They're not gonna they're not gonna end your lives because look at it this way: Batman can end the Joker's life any given time he wanted it. He just doesn't because he he's he knows as a vigilante there's a fine line between as a vigilante being a criminal and being a hero. Because I mean, technically, all vigilantes are criminals, technically. But you cross that line when you start killing. So that's why he won't take it there, and neither will most of the other superheroes as well. But I would not say the Joker is more afraid of the Flash. Actually, I'm not even sure the Joker has is depending on what interpretation of the Joker we're talking about. I'm not even sure he has a fear really of anyone. If he did, it would be more someone like the Red Hood, because the Red Hood would end him instantly. The Red Hood has no bones about killing, so he would end the Joker. If he had a fear of anyone, it would probably be someone like him. But again, I don't think the Joker has a healthy fear of anyone. Superman's the top superhero. That's what's up. He's one of my favorites, but my favorite is Batman. If you guys haven't seen all my Batman stuff here in my previous videos, I have a lot of that stuff. Batman and Star Wars. Dylan's talking about watch you 360 bear mace a tree. Um, like I said, I might do a video one day spraying it, but again, I'll have to do it when I know there's no one around, including animals, because I don't want to unintentionally hurt anyone. And I gotta make sure it's a clear day, so it can't blow back in my direction and harm me. As, just as a precaution, I'll probably wear a mask and goggles. Street beefs. That's what it was. Thank you. Yeah. So Icy Mike has done street beefs. He hasn't fought professionally, but he teaches people. He coaches people in professional kickboxing, but he doesn't fight professionally himself. He has done street beefs, so the man is legit. Why does this? Why do you come on every stream saying oil up for me? Dude, go take that to the Silence of the Lambs, because we're not doing it here, bro. I mean, if that's how you get down, go ahead. I'm pretty sure there's some bar in your neighborhood that will acquiesce to your needs. Dylan says, "Don't you ever disrespect the judo chop?" There is no judo chop. That's what I'm saying. That's what makes the joke so funny. Was the whole idea of a judo chop. There's no judo chop because there's no strikes in judo. I first remember that, I think on the Flintstones long time ago. And they kept saying judo chop. That was such a racist era. The way they portrayed Japanese in those old Flintstone cartoons and stuff from the 50s and 60s. Whew, it is not kosher today. But yeah, there's no judo chop. There's a karate chop, and what they mean by karate chop is called the knife hand. I forgot the technical term, but you have the knife hand that's right, and it can be also reversed this way. Um, but there's no strikes in judo. Trust me, that was my very first martial art I ever studied. There was no striking. I'm not. Yeah, there's a knife hand strike, but it's not a judo chop. There's no judo chop. That's just something that was made up by people who never studied martial arts. Aesthetic says, "Hi, what's your name?" Well, my YouTube name is Just A Contrarian, but my real name is Aman. Appreciate it, Dylan. Mercury says Trump 2024. That's what's up. um, okay, so Joni has rephrased the question from earlier that I asked about if you become a teenager, what are you going to do? I thought you rephrased it. What career are you going to choose? What will you do with your life? I still don't get it, but it's like some sort of zombie emoji. So I guess you're talking about what would happen. What would I do in an apocalypse? Again, I have a bug out bag. I don't know what he's right here. It doesn't look. It doesn't look like a bug out bag, which is the whole point. It's not supposed to look like a bug out bag. If you're in an actual bug out scenario, you don't want people to know that you're bugging out or that you have tools on you to protect yourself. A bug out bag is usually a 72-hour kit that you use to get from one to go from one location to a safe place. Um, that would be part of my preparations in case something happened in some sort of given crisis. And everyone should actually have a bug out bag. So let's make that point 3 about self defense preparation in case of an emergency. So FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Association agent, excuse me, Federal Emergency Management Agency recommends everyone have some sort of bug out bag because it's not just for doomsday preppers believing that asteroid's going to hit the world or that there's going to be a global EMP set off that shuts off all electronics because Magneto got mad. Joking, but X-Men 97. So, but no, the truth of the matter is everyone should have a bug out bag because um, they are natural disasters that happen over all the time. Usually, fire, usually fires and floods, but then also depending on where you live in the world, tornadoes and earthquakes and hurricanes, tropical storms, all those sorts of things. For those reasons, everyone should have some sort of bug out bag. And again, I'm going to do a video on that showing people my bug out bag, what's in it, what I carry, why I carry them. So that should be part of your preparation. And goes into self defense because self defense isn't just about fighting; it's a huge domain of interrelated topics. So preparation is the third part of the self defense. Like I said, a bug out bag, having extra stores of food in your home, like food that can last, like canned foods or dried foods, stuff like that that you can store for a long time. Maybe an emergency generator, like you have this. The best ones are probably the solar generators because they last longer, but you can also get like the gas generators and stuff like that because the electricity might go out for an elongated period of time. You should also have some like sort of stores of water, perhaps. Like these things I haven't done yet just because I don't plan on being here long term. I plan on me and my wife staying overseas and we'll make those preparations there. But I do have a bug out bag here. But that's another aspect of self defense is prepping for emergencies. Okay. Light work. Joker doesn't care about dying. There's been so many ways to interpret the Joker. He probably doesn't, but then he does. So who knows? It depends on who's writing the Joker at the time. Um, one person had written Joker as a way that he's not actually insane. He's actually super sane, if that makes sense. So it just depends on how you interpret him. There was even a book called The Three Jokers. Matter of fact, I got that. Which makes it that there's actually not one Joker running around, but 3 different versions of him. But they recently done a update to that book because it was a black label DC comic, which meant it was not canon. So they actually folded it back into the canon and just said that these aren't actual 3 separate Jokers running around Gotham, but they're actually just one Joker with 3 different personalities, which is I forgot the 3 versions of him: the comedian, the criminal, and the I forgot the other one. You got bear spray one still in? You didn't have to go to the hospital for that? That's stuff. That's not regular mace. That stuff is powerful. Oh, Smokey said it was funny though. All the old cartoons racist, but funny, man. Our generation's too son. You preaching to the choir, old Smokey. Man, those old cartoons, the racism made it funny. Like those old Bugs Bunny cartoons or Tom and Jerry cartoons they can't show anymore. The funniest one was, all right. So, all right, don't anyone get offended here. So, one of the funniest ones was this old Tom and Jerry cartoon where this wolf decided to disguise himself as I think a magician or something like that. He took this magical hat and every time he did something, these white rabbits would pop out the hat, and then they popped out doing blackface, white rabbits and blackface, and and he started singing this little pseudo African song like hoot to the nanny, ooh ah, hoot to the nanny, ooh ah. Man, that I laughed so hard at that. Like it was so racist. I laughed so, but man, that one was funny. And then Bugs Bunny did a really racist one about I think it was like Elmer Fudd or someone trying to catch this Native American guy who they call Super Engine Joe. Man, that one was off the hook. Yeah, those old racist cartoons were funny as hell. And we all know the Fleischer cartoons like Betty Boop and Popeye. Those were yeah, those you couldn't get away with that stuff today. But those the more racist they were, the funnier. Oh, another Tom and Jerry one that was racist. Do anyone remember the cat Tom's owner was this black woman, and she looked a lot like the stereotypical black maid of like the I don't know the 50s, 60s, whatever. And you never saw her from the face up. You only saw her from from the neck down. But you could tell she was a morbidly obese woman, and she had the sound well the speech patterns of a stereotypical black woman of the time. And so Tom got drunk and for some reason decided to throw water on the woman. He was like, one for the money, two for the show. And anytime Tom or Jerry spoke, for some reason they were black. So I don't know what's up with that. Like they were even wearing zoot suits and stuff, but every time Tom spoke, he was black for some reason. So he was like, three to get ready and four to go. He threw this. He threw a whole pitcher of water on the woman. She screamed. I was like, Thomas. he ran. He ran down this flight of steps, and for some reason, she just jumped all the way down the flight of steps, and the whole first floor of the house blew up. That had to be the funniest thing I ever saw. Like, as a kid, nah, I was through. Like, I couldn't stop laughing that this fat woman just jumped an entire flight of steps and literally blew up the whole first floor. That was so racist, but it was so funny. Like, she, it was basically Lizzo. Like, she was basically Lizzo size. Like I said, imagine Lizzo jumping down a flight of steps and then the whole first floor just blowing up. That's what happened in that Tom and Jerry cartoon. That had to been the funniest thing I ever saw. All right, I'm off topic. Let me get back here. Um, Shantano says hello, good evening, man. What's up, Shantano? Thumbrew said that's the move. She did that to my throat. Oh, the knife hand. Yeah. So when you fight, always keep your chin tucked in. When your chin is up, easy to knock you out. Keep your chin down, which makes it harder for people to hit right here because if the neck is up, I can also do a finger jab to here. Right? So keep your chin down when fighting. Chin down, eyes chest level. That way people can't strike you to your throat, which is actually hard to pull off unless they did it to a side of your neck and hit like the carotid artery right here. Colton says, what's up? I think she screamed. You don't. That I'm sorry for your pain, but I'm not gonna lie. I would have cried laughing if I saw someone hit someone with a knife hand in the neck and scream judo chop. I would have busted out laughing. I'm I'm not gonna even hold you. How to make a bug out bag. So I'm gonna do an entire video on that, guys. But here's the thing: get you can for one, don't order those pre-made bug out bags off of like Amazon and eBay. Those are shitty. Make one yourself. And there's so many videos on here that can teach you how to do it. A good YouTuber is David Canterbury. He actually started his own school of prepping. He's a he's a military vet. I think a former MP. He teaches bugging out and prepping and survivalism. Go to his channel. He'll teach you how to make a a good bug out bag. Um, but you want a very durable um, backpack. Don't don't get the ones that have like the like a flag, like the country's flag, and all this little camouflage and stuff on it, because you're kind of just giving away the fact that you got some sort of like tactical bag. You want a tactical bag that doesn't look tactical, if you get what I'm saying. Like just plain black, or it should look like someone who's just your bug out bag should look like someone who's coming from school or from the gym, something like that. You don't want to look like someone who's playing like the 18, you know. But start with a good start by going to like a good outdoors or camping store and getting a bag there. And within that little outdoors type of place, like Dick's Sporting Goods or someplace like that, you'll see a lot of stuff that you can get. You want to get like I said, you want a flashlight, you want a survival knife, you want to get like a like some sort of bedding, like a sleeping bag of some sort. Um, you want to get like some sort of food that you can eat on the go. You want something that can start a fire. Okay, I'm gonna show all this in a future video. Trust me. Um, you want something. You want something to hold water. You want something that can purify water, because you may have to attain water on your travel to wherever you're getting to, and there may not be any clean sources of water where you're going, so you're gonna need something to purify the water. Um, you're gonna need stuff to keep yourself warm. Uh, you're gonna want a like bandages or first aid kit to keep with you in case something happens. You're definitely gonna want a tourniquet, like a cat tourniquet, stuff like that. Janessa Raj says, "Show me. What are you asking me to show you? Where do you see his channel in 5 years?" I don't know if that's assuming I'm still doing this in 5 years. um, if I'm still up in 5 years, uh, well, for one, I'm not gonna be doing it unless I'm monetized. Because right now I'm just doing it for the as a hobbyist. But if I'm still doing it in 5 years, this is gonna have expanded to like doing a lot of stuff like like vlogging, you know, like with traveling and stuff like that. So it probably will expand to doing stuff, showing me traveling, having Mrs. Contrarian on the channel. She was watching my last live stream, but she didn't say anything. But she was watching while she was at work, but she was being shy. So I'll probably have her on the channel. She might also do her own channel as a spinoff. So that's pretty much all I can see with the channel expanding, is like me doing more travel vlogging, showing more of me and my wife doing things in our day to day. Maybe some interviews with other folks, stuff like that. Maybe some more martial arts specific content. I'm I'm still actually deliberating doing a second channel just purely on martial arts. What's my job? Well, I do um, what do you? I guess what you can call financial services. um, Basically running a call center or two. I work with one here in the states and overseas. That's my main work. Then I also part time. Like I said, I'm a part time coach, self defense. But I only teach like 1-on-1. I don't run a class, and it's more of a hobby than a well. It's I consider it, I guess, a part time job because I do re- re- ask for money for my services, but I don't ask for a lot. Maybe that's because I'm undervaluing myself, but that's my own personal bag. Joseph Fisher says the lady with the broom. Who's that? Oh yeah, and Tom and Jerry. Yeah, yeah. The yeah. You never see her from the head up. I mean, from the neck up. You only see her from the neck down. It's an obese black woman. Looks like Lizzo, but she has the speech affectation of like of a of a southern black woman from like the 50s. Jesse Hernandez is asking me as existential questions. Where do we go when we die? I'm the wrong person to ask about that because I'm not religious and I don't know what your religious background is, so I don't want to say anything that may offend you. But again, I'm not religious, so I'll put it this way: I don't think there's any software without the hardware. Med kit, sewing kit are essential. Exactly. I have a sewing kit in my bug out bag too. I do have a med kit. Like I said, I have a tourniquet. Um, a bunch of other stuff. Like I'm gonna do a whole guys. I'm gonna do a whole video on that because it would just be way too much to explain. But I just made that the third aspect of self defense was prepping. Um, so, but yeah, you plan to live overseas? Yes, I already have a home overseas, so it's just a matter of me staying there permanently now, as opposed to being here. So I already have a home overseas in the Philippines. Um, so fourth aspect, which is the most obvious aspect of self-defense, is hand-to-hand training. And the reason I listed firearms before hand-to-hand training is just because it's more, I don't know. It'll probably be more useful. Well, not really. The firearms isn't more useful, but they kind of go hand in hand, pun intended. So hand in hand training, like martial arts or modern combat sports, you need to have that for self defense, obviously, because with all the EDC weapons that I just showed you, none of them are going to be that effective if you don't know how to if you don't know how to fight. So the thing is, it's not sexy to call self defense fighting, but at the end of the day, self defense is fighting. Um, but usually, when you go to these martial arts places, they rather use the term self defense than fighting because it sounds less aggressive. But to be able to do self defense, you do need to know how to fight, and that means we're not talking about just all martial arts here. We're we're talking about a narrow scope of martial arts geared towards knowing how to fight, and those are the modern combat sports: boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, uh, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, wrestling. These modern combat sports are ones, the best ones to learn strictly for self defense. Whereas the traditional martial arts can teach you to fight, but most of them aren't specifically geared towards doing so. They're more about the preservation of tradition and and stuff like that, and aesthetics or fitness. So I wouldn't recommend like doing classical kung fu or classical karate or traditional jujitsu to learn how to be effective in self-defense. It can be it can be in addition to that, of course, But if you're strict, but if your purpose for learning martial arts is strictly for self defense, then you want to concentrate on the modern combat sports like MMA, boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, wrestling. Okay, and that will actually elevate your your um your weapons training, because you might then also want to consider Filipino martial arts to learn how to be effective with using sticks and blades. Why don't many Americans go overseas? The world is amazing. Europe, Asia, absolutely. I'm a passport bro, so this is something that I've been saying for like the last past year or so. That's why you have a whole thing in America called the passport bro movement. People think it's about going overseas for sex, and it's not. It's about particularly it's about men, well, all men, but particularly with black men going overseas and gaining a broader experience about life. Um, because overseas you can find a better lifestyle. You can find women who may be more traditionally geared towards being wives. Um, live in places that are safer than American communities. Like, when I go to Japan or almost anywhere else, I'm not worried about mass shootings. Um, and I'm also not worried about targeted racism. So a lot of black men, but all Western men in general, find there's so many aspects living overseas that that are far superior than living here in America. The reason why more men don't do it, some just don't know because they've never been anywhere to know that traveling is such a good thing. Others don't have the financial means to do so. They don't have the money to travel. Some have been dissuaded to do so by the people in their lives to make them think that everything that's great is here in America. So there's a bunch of reasons why some people don't realize how great it is traveling to Europe, Asia, Latin America, Africa, Australia. I personally want to hit all 7 continents, including Antarctica. So, which gets into another aspect of self-defense or prepping. Having a passport, because that gives you options. The option to opt out. I mean, if things really go sour in one's own country, it's good to have a passport that you can get away from there. Again, we're covering self-defense in the most broadest scope. So having having a passport so that you can get the f out of Dodge if something goes sour where you live, some sort of crisis, which kind of gets back into the third aspect that I mentioned, which was preparations. Having that passport gives you options that you can get out of a dangerous situation. I, if you're someone who's really into survivalism or prepping, you should probably have a passport. But I think that pretty much covers it. And just to summarize, so like I was saying, the some of the main aspects of self defense, and by no means are these all the aspects, but these are just some of the main aspects. One was being physically fit. You can't defend yourself if you're not physically fit. That was the first one. Two was getting firearms and weapons training and having those weapons available to you, whether you're talking about firearms, everyday carry weapons, stuff like, or knowing how to use things in your environment as a makeshift weapon. Um, Three was preparations as far as like survivalism, bugging out, um, that sort of stuff, right? Then the fourth one was learning hand to hand training, um, martial arts, some sort of modern combat fighting. whether you're talking about MMA, Muay Thai, kickboxing, boxing, Brazilian submission, grappling. Those those modern combat sports will teach you how to how to fight. And then the last aspect I said is having travel documents so you can get out of a bad situation if something arises. So having that passport, right? Being able to grab that visa to another country, and depending on where you live or your ethnic background, you may have things to help. So, like, say if you're Jewish, there's the law of return that um, people who are Jewish who live in any part of the world can return to Israel, which is a safe haven for them in case something goes sour where they live. So if you live in Ukraine, you want to get the hell out of Dodge, there you go. I don't want to get too political with that because I've discussed that in other videos. But for the nunts, let's just say, have some sort of passport and other sorts of provisions for traveling in case you need to get away from danger. And that goes back into the preparations aspect. But I think this is winding down unless anyone else has any specific questions, or if I missed some questions, then I'm gonna end this because my food has, I think, digested enough that I can go work out and then continue the rest of my day. But I appreciate everyone that's asked me questions and contributed. Even the trolls, I get the same troll in every live stream asking me to oil up, which is pause. I appreciate you coming on, Piramo. I know you've been on several. Mike, you're welcome. But again, since people ask me a lot of stuff about the bug out bag, I am going to do a video showing all the contents of my bug out bag. The only thing I'm not going to show in my bug out bag is stuff dealing with firearms. And that's only because I know that in YouTube the algorithm would demonetize a video if it's showing like firearms. So I'm not going to show that, but I'll show everything else dealing with my bug out bag and explain like why I have this and why I have that and how to use it. But I'm unsure if I want to do that as a live stream or if I'm gonna do that as a pre-recorded video. I'm probably gonna do that as a pre-recorded video so I can edit it for you guys. Mrs. Contrarian helps me edit some of my stuff, so if I've had any videos that look better than the others, she's probably edited. That's why, because I can't edit for anything. But that's it. If unless somebody has some questions, I'm going to wrap this up. And I think some of you were on the stream earlier, so you saw me showing my everyday carry weapons. So like at night when I go to run or if I walk to the store, I keep my flashlight, the stun gun on me because it has the flashlight on it. It has the stun gun part. It has a siren on it. So it's very useful when I go walking down the street or run or taking a run at night. I have my man Riki Gisari, which is a samurai fighting chain, which is weighted at both ends that I keep in my back pocket when I go out sometimes. I have brass knuckles that I can use. I have my balisong, my Filipino butterfly knife. I also have a karambit. I forgot to show that, but I don't really walk around with the karambit much because it's too big. I also have a knife belt with a small blade that comes out of the buckle, which is very useful. I have my pepper spray. What else? I have other EDC weapons, but those were my main ones that I showed everybody. Yes, man. That's what you think if the TBP 12 bullpup shotgun. I'm not familiar with it. That is, but as far as a shotgun, that is something I plan on adding to my home defense. I've been kind of divided whether for home defense, do I want a shotgun or if I want a AR-15 or carbine rifle? It depends. Plus, I'm not planning on buying one for my home here in Baltimore. It would probably be for when I go to the Philippines. Look at it. Is it a semi-automatic shotgun? Yes, man. Or is it a single? Was this is a single shot? I'll look it up late after I get off the live stream. But just curious, is a semi-automatic shotgun? It is okay. Cool. I'll definitely look that up because I've heard some good things. I'm mad. I I'm mad. I keep telling my friend I'm mad that I didn't buy the shotgun we saw at Guntree. That's a nice gun range here in Maryland called Guntree. I think it was no, it wasn't at Guntree. It was at a different gun shop. It was a shotgun, really nice. Yeah, it was like a shotgun. It was only like $75. I should have bought it. I don't know why I didn't buy it. Especially knowing, with long guns here, you don't have to go through the 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 waiting period. You can get it right then and there after they do the background check. So I should have bought it. And I'm pretty sure I can find another cheap one too. But yeah, right. $75 is like I I could blow that on a given day on food, right? I don't know why I didn't. Well, I think the only reason I didn't get it is because again, I'm waiting to go back overseas before I buy my firearms. And when I do buy my firearms, it'll probably be under my wife because as a foreigner, I'll have to ask my cousin-in-law because he's a policeman in the Philippine National Police about that. But I don't, as a foreigner, I don't think I can own any firearms, but she can, and so I will buy them under her. And um, they have a big gun culture in the Philippines. Most people don't realize it. The difference is they don't have the violence there that we have because their politics are different than ours. But they have a big gun culture in the Philippines. As a matter of fact, I even told my wife to ask her uncles what would they rather me do for them when I come back. I was like, I can either take them to the gun range or we could have what's called a boodle fight. A boodle fight is nothing. It's actually like a big, uh, it's like a big feast that you have. Everyone eats by hand, and like all the food is served on a long table on banana leaves, and everyone just grabs it by their hands. It's called a boodle fight. And I said, what would they like, a boodle fight or take them all to the range? And she said all the uncles was like, they want to go to the range. so that's what I'm gonna do when I go there. I'm gonna take them all out to the gun range and we're gonna have some fun. Oh, you're from Colorado living in Florida. Okay. So my idea isn't that far off. Okay. Because yeah, that's what I plan on doing in the Philippines. And it's it feels so much safer when you go to, like, it's a culture shock because when you go to the malls and stuff out there. Maybe I'll have my wife film a video for us, and I'll record it. But like, you can go to like 7-Eleven or like Starbucks or McDonald's, and you'll see armed guards out there. Now, I've heard from some folks that said that those guns are just for show; they're not actually loaded. I'm not sure, but the thing is, they have armed guards and like just standing outside the mall or standing outside like McDonald's or Starbucks, like with like shotguns and handguns. Um, so it feels safe, and they're not threatening to people. They're just there to keep things from popping off because the Philippines is a poor country, so you might have people try to rob these places if they didn't have security everywhere. But you'll rarely ever see anything happening there, rarely if ever. And like, they search you going into the mall, right? So it's really safe. I flirt with the female security guards outside the mall, like, hey, make sure you check. I might have a weapon on me, and they start blushing. But yeah, you got armed security everywhere in the Philippines. And like I said, outside it's weird. You'll go into go to a Starbucks and you'll see like armed security out there. So it's crazy. But like I said, it's safe. Like you're not gonna feel you're in any sort of danger. It's just gonna be a culture shock seeing people with like armed security everywhere when you go to like stores. And like I said, it's very easy for a citizen to get weapons there, but unlike here, it's more sensible. So there's a national background check and a psychological evaluation that everyone has to get to get a weapon, which I wish they did here. I wish people underwent psychological evaluations here before they got a weapon, because that would cut down on a lot of craziness, right? If the wrong, if we didn't have crazy people owning guns or any weapon for that matter, but that's a different topic for another day. I'm gonna I'm gonna wrap this up, guys. So I gotta check the Philippines. FYI, semi-auto shotguns are picky with ammo. I don't recommend slugs. Get double O buckshots, better spread and easy for. Yeah, I've heard as well. Use buckshots. The other reason I would choose buckshots over slugs is that slugs are more penetrating, and if you're inside, since the shotgun is for home defense, um, it probably don't want slugs going through the walls and hitting your neighbors. So I think buckshot would probably be safer than slugs. So yeah, I wouldn't have planned on buying slugs for that either. I would have did buckshot. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna look into the shotguns and maybe still maybe an AR or carbine rifle. I don't know if I'll get both, or I'll just have a good one, or I'll have one or the other. But anyway, yes, man. Thanks for the chat, man. Um, I'm gonna end this because it look like everyone else is about to do their thing. I can't recommend any good shotguns, but yes, man knows about some. Hundo, he just recommended me one. He said let me get that right. I'm scrolling up. The TBP 12 bullpup shotgun. Bird, buck. Yeah, like from Dave Chappelle. Birdshot, buckshot, birdshot, buckshot, birdshot, buckshot, buckshot, buck. All right, let me go. But I appreciate it, guys. I'm, after I end this, I'm gonna post this to the channel. So if you guys still have any questions or comments, you can leave comments, and I'll see them when this video is uploaded. All right. Thank you, guys.